Welcome to The Leap. My name is Anthony McCormack.
I'm Pat McCaffrey.
And I'm Pam Rana. A transcript of President Donald Trump's conversation with Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has revealed Turnbull talking candidly about Australia's refugee policy. In the transcript, Turnbull says that if you come to Australia by boat, even if you're a Nobel Prize winning genius, we will not let you in.
Yeah, we Australians don't care how many cures for Alzheimer's you come up with. We'll send you straight to Manus.
Yeah, I'll decapitate a Nobel Prize motherfucker. I'll do it, straight up. Try me.
The transcript also reveals Trump's concern that refugees sent to America were not going to be wonderful people who go on to work for the local milk people. Representative of the local milk people, James Blunt, refused to comment.
Yeah, we Australians don't care how many cures for Alzheimer's you come up with. We'll send you straight to Manus.
No, oh, dear sweet Anthony, no. And thank God for that, President Trump has a new communications director, Anthony Scaramucci, who earlier this week was fired from the role of communications director before he was officially supposed to begin on August 15th.
In Australia still doesn't have same-sex marriage news now. The government is apparently seeking legal advice on the possibility of a postal plebiscite after previous plebiscite proposals were preposterously postponed by a petulant Senate. Pam?
Perfectly put, Pat. But one senior figure in the Liberal Party has roundly criticized the idea. The voluntary postal voting method flies in the face of Australian democratic values, reads a 1997 op-ed by one Malcolm Turnbull, who was still 18 years away from keeping Nobel Prize winners off our shores.
The Liberals will hold a party room meeting on Monday to thrash out their views on gay marriage, with Malcolm Turnbull saying his approach will be hands-off, which only goes to show how little he understands of the gay community.
It's been revealed that the Australian government paid a PR company $277,000 to persuade asylum seekers in Afghanistan and Pakistan not to travel to Australia, which is actually a hell of a lot less than they were spending the last time they wanted to keep people out of Australia with a PR campaign.
The Commonwealth Bank has been accused of over 50,000 breaches of money laundering laws this week because the schemes they were using could have been easily exploited by potential terrorists.
As if terrorists would launder money through Commonwealth Bank. Their interest rates are a human rights violation. The thrifty terrorist puts his trust in Westpac.
On her first day in the job, newly elected leader of the New Zealand Labor Party, Jacinta Ardern, was asked whether she needed to choose between having a family and having a career.
And the question was asked by Jessie Mulligan, who is the host of New Zealand's version of The Project. So it's good to see that for every Sam Neill New Zealand sends us, we send them back The Project.
Sperm counts are plummeting through the Western world, according to a large study of men. The size of the study has come under scrutiny, however, after some men claimed it was bigger than it actually is.
And those are the week's headlines. But in other news, the government has introduced additional security measures at Australia's major airports after 4 people were arrested in connection to a suspected terrorist plot. Qantas and Virgin Airlines are now notifying customers to arrive up to 3 hours before flights.
But will these proposed security measures help at all, or will they just make people angry before putting them onto a tiny skybox for 24 hours?
Well, look at places that are doing the same thing. Last month in Minneapolis, undercover agents successfully snuck drugs and explosives past TSA screeners.
Yeah, for those that are unsure, the TSA are the American version of Border Force, whose priority isn't always drugs and explosives, to be fair.
Yeah, well, the TSA Red Team attempted to smuggle 18 different items past airport security that should have been easily detected, but 17 out of 18 times they weren't. Items like explosive materials, fake weapons, and drugs passed right through. The test was abandoned when the failure rate reached 95%.
But this is only one instance of catastrophic failure.
Nah, in 2015, the TSA chief was reassigned after screening hit a 95% failure rate. It's happened before, and it's gonna keep happening.
Well, in times of crisis, the world turns to the country that's doing its best. And in this case, it's Ben Gurion International Airport in Israel, often referred to as the world's safest airport.
Huh? The world's safest airport is in the Middle East, but that's where all the terrorists live. Theirs and ours.
Well, no flight leaving the airport has ever been hijacked. They haven't had a single terrorist attack since 1972, and their head of security says they can get travellers from their car to their plane in 25 minutes. 25 minutes!
Whoa! Uber Eats takes longer than that, but I order huge.
Well, that to one side. This 25 minutes is not a guarantee, mind you, but it is a possibility.
So they're secure, I get to sleep in. How do they do it, and how can we get it here?
Well, one important detail, not taking off your shoes. The other one, though, doing security in rings.
Rings?
Concentric, not bling. Small checkpoints throughout the journey versus bottlenecking all the passengers in one place. Because turns out, and I don't want to sound like I'm giving terrorists advice, but if you're looking to blow up a whole heap of people, it doesn't matter which side of the scanners they're stuck on.
Yeah, you might be able to fool one set of guards. Steve might be having an off day, but Terry and Sam, they'll be waiting for you.
So why am I waiting up to 3 hours when it's clear good airport security can be handled in 25 minutes or your money back?
I think Qantas and Virgin need to be a little less TSA and a little bit more Ben Gurion.
Well, one thing's for sure, secure airports are the bomb.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you'd like to join us in our Melbourne audience, go to theleaklive.com. Now, though, 4and20 have started a new advertising campaign titled Save Our Slang, wherein they have placed 70 of our most endangered slang words on the packets of meat pies. To discuss this is our linguistic correspondent, Matt Harvey. Matt, welcome.
Hello.
Now you are, give it up for Matt. Now you're saying that this campaign is not a bit of fun, but it's more a dog whistle, xenophobic kind of campaign.
That's right. That's exactly right. So a few years back, you may remember, the 4and20, they got in a bit of a spot when they became the focus of a boycott from their biggest supporters to date, football fans. Now, they cried out in horror as they watched their humble snack food turn from a humble snack food into a supporter of the terrorist arts.
Right, they turned 5% of their meat pies into halal certified pies.
Exactly right. And even the way that they're labeling these pies, it's a bit of a dance with words because they're labeling them as export. You know, not for here. You know, not for us. Wink. However, after they refused to back down from this, it seemed like maybe that they were being slightly progressive. So, in order to win back their big supporters, they've gone on out in this big campaign, and they're trying to convince these people that they're still cool, they're still true blue, they're still Jono from the block.
Well, I guess I understand why they're afraid. The first point of infiltration for any foreigner into a new country is through snacks.
Yeah, think about it. The Italians brought pizza, the Greeks souvlakis, the Vietnamese brought pho, the Chinese brought dumplings, and Chinese food. I mean, if you want to win us over, bring snacks.
Yeah. Bonus points for snacks we can eat while drunk.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, Aussie slang isn't dying out. It's just these people are afraid that halal certification is funding terrorism.
A tale as old as time.
Yeah. So, I need to make this as clear as I can. Halal certification does not fund terrorism. But if it did, it doesn't. But if it did, it doesn't. But if it did, it'd be a really small drop in a very large pond. Because terrorism is mostly funded by oil. See, if we were truly committed to fighting terrorism, the problem isn't the pie from the servo, it's filling up the Australia's most popular vehicle of 2016, the Toyota Hilux, at the very same servo. Think of it as grandma warning you against the dangers of microwave food giving you cancer, as she takes a big old drag from her cigarette.
So, if halal certification funded terrorism...
It doesn't.
But if it did, they're just pies, and it'd be a small drop compared to the bucket of big oil.
Look, the only thing that seems to be funding terrorism truly is sticking to archaic cultural ideals. So, sure, 4and20, your pies are beaut. They're bloody rip snorters, and they're bloody rippers, you know. But it'd take a slacker to blame halal for those ISIS drop kicks, and that's no furphy.
Bonza. And now this. Let me ask you a question. Do our global businesses know how to make money anymore? And I ask this amid fresh revelations that everyone's favourite streaming giant Netflix is $25 billion in the hole. Despite the fact they stand over fallen competitors with their 100 million global subscribers and their original award-winning programs, Netflix expect to be free cash flow negative for many years. That's a fancy business term for not making money. So the experiment has failed. Shut them down. Hold your horses, because they're somehow successful enough to borrow $626 million from 5 different banks with an option to borrow $313 million more, subject to certain terms and conditions, none of which seem to include making that money back. If I went into one bank, let alone 5, and said, I've got a great idea for a business, I show other people's movies, give me $1 billion, they'd laugh me out of the place. Or would they? Yes, they would. Netflix is disruption. It's a new buzzword for 2017, disruption. It means your business succeeds because it screws up everyone else. Other disruptive business ideas include Uber, who would need to quadruple their fares to turn any kind of profit, and they don't even make their own cars. And Twitter. Yes, it turns out heavily influencing our daily politics and news cycles doesn't translate to cold hard cash. But you should invest in it because we all use it. Big business needing bailouts is not a new development. Last month, the Australian government paid $30 million to cable TV provider Foxtel just cause. If I went to my local government office and said, give me $30 million just cause, they'd laugh me out of the place. Or would they? Yes, they would. Why are these businesses that never turn a profit considered successful? I could lose millions of other people's dollars. Just give me a chance. Here's a disruptive idea, a shoe rental service like an Uber for shoes. Shuba. I'll need $1.5 billion of capital to set up the infrastructure, but it all relies on other people's shoes. Why not? You funded these other crazy disruptive ideas. Why not Shuba? All I'm saying is if your business model doesn't include making an actual profit, it ain't a business, it's a charity. I'd say we should boycott these places, but apparently everyone in the world could support them and it wouldn't make a difference. Screw housing affordability. Screw the cost of living. Our banks and governments demand so much accountability from our welfare recipients and individual taxpayers, but they'll drop a lousy $2 billion in a year, no sweat, as long as they're in a suit talking disruption and winning heaps of awards. Maybe if I get a Golden Globe, they'll give me a home loan. Looks like I'm shopping at Aldi, at least until I win my first Emmy. So make sure you vote for Anthony McCormack in the 2018 TV Week Logie Awards, because I've got a HEX debt to pay off.
Last season on the show, we covered female genital mutilation, or FGM, happening in Australia. Needless to say, it was uncomfortable, because it is. FGM, we've got to cut it out. Bad choice of words. But what if I told you there's a surgery to help correct and reverse some of the damages this practice causes? This surgery exists, but not in Australia. We're going to come back to that, but first, for the record, when it comes to altering a child's body permanently, boy or girl, for beliefs they don't understand or can't agree to, I'm against it. And that includes piercings. Parents, babies shouldn't own earrings. It's creepy and an obvious choking hazard. And I wish that was the weirdest thing we had to deal with. Why are we interfering with the genitals of children? At least male circumcision is usually uncomplicated and done for sometimes health reasons and more often religious. Jewish God demands it. Him and aging American cougars, apparently. Whereas female circumcision is a horror show done solely to stymie sexual sensations. You see, ladies, even when it comes to genital mutilation, the men still get a better deal. Now, I understand the cultural sensitivity button circumcision pushes. By all means, spread your culture to your children, but do it through a love of country rock music. Scar them in a different way, a reversible way. Currently, the prevalence of FGM is unknown in Australia, but it is increasing due to the effects of migration. However, there's no formal process for collecting this data. Believe me, it's hard enough to get people to talk about their genitals, let alone healthy ones, let alone mutilated ones. But we need to collect data to identify survivors and at-risk girls. Because if it's happened to a woman, it's more likely to happen to her children. And that brings us to French surgeon Dr. Pierre Folds, who's developed a procedure that reconstructs the clitoris, reduces pain, and restores pleasure. He's been teaching it all over the world, but the Royal Australian and New Zealand College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists don't want it here. They cite the reason that the removed clitoral tissue cannot be replaced. Well, obviously not. We're not regenerating lady parts. It's not Deadpool vagina. But what most people, and apparently the doctors at the Royal College don't know, is that a majority of the clitoris lies underneath the surface of the skin. Lost tissue isn't replaced. Surgeons go under the skin to bring a portion of the hidden clitoris forward. It's like growing a new tooth, but in your downstairs mouth. The college further states that the procedure lacks conclusive evidence of benefit. Dr. Folds has treated thousands of women. Yes, his study has poor follow-up, but that's a problem endemic to groups that practice FGM. That's why we need more data. And let's put it this way. If I lost my hand and you gave me something that kind of looks, feels, and works like a hand, I'd be pretty happy. It's important to note that the college was approached in 2010 to sanction genital cutting for cultural reasons, and they came out against it. So they recognize it as an unacceptable practice, but after that it's don't ask, don't tell, and don't fix, and that don't sit right with me, especially when women in Australia are planning to go to Kenya to get this surgery. Who goes to Kenya for surgery? That's like going to Jamaica for a bobsled team. So if you'd like to help make change, please go to nofgmoz.com where you can donate, find educational tools, and most importantly, download form letters to lobby your local MP and the Minister of Health to institute health policy to collect the much needed data and above all, to bring that surgery here. Thank you, and we'll be back after the break.
Welcome back. Remember to stay tuned for our live Facebook post show straight after tonight's episode. Now, on Tuesday, the Australian Human Rights Commission released their landmark report on sexual assault in Australia's universities. To tell us all about it is university expert and current PATH intern, Susanna Christensen. Welcome, Susanna. Now tell us, what does this report say?
Well, this is easily the least fun bedtime reading I did this week. 51% of the students surveyed experienced sexual harassment at least once in 2016. Almost 7% have reported being sexually assaulted, a figure which is 4 times higher than the national average.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, girls are experts on the topic because we're schooled long before we even step foot on a university campus. Don't drink alcohol, because if you're drunk, it suggests you're up for it.
Also, when you drink alcohol, never lose sight of your drink.
And stay on your phone so it looks like you're on a conference call at 3 in the morning.
But never actually be on your phone so you look aware of your surroundings walking home alone at night.
But never walk home alone at night.
Don't forget to wear headphones on public transport to discourage strangers from talking to you.
But don't wear headphones at all and avoid places where sexual assault can happen, like public transport, pub crawls, campuses, workplaces, the Ukrainian Student Short Film Festival, O Week, strangers' homes, friends' homes, and especially your own home.
God, between the free barbecues and cheap beer, I'm amazed the Uni Open Day didn't cover this.
So universities are terrible, scary places, but completely unlike the rest of society, right?
This is the same society that dismisses women, normalizes sexual harassment, and blames victims?
Yeah, the report found universities basically just concentrate these aspects and add gross amounts of alcohol.
So why are so many trendy, young, new left uni students not actually caring about feminism as much as their Twitter presence says they do? Are they like scared of getting involved or something when they see someone being harassed?
And it's as easy as going up to someone who looks like they're in trouble and saying, hey, are you doing okay? Even if you've misread the situation and they're actually fine, that's not a confrontation. That's just a mild embarrassment. And embarrassment is what the university experience is all about.
So, Susanna, what do you think is the most pressing thing that we can take from this report?
Well, critically, just 9% of students who had been assaulted said they had made an official complaint or report to their university, with many saying they didn't even know how to. That's ridiculous. My uni sends me an email every time someone loses their guitar in the common room. They should tell me what I'm supposed to do if I'm harassed or assaulted.
I think that is an important point. We need to give people the tools to be able to report these things, let alone shock horror talk about them.
Yeah, so let's put less emphasis on rewarding 18-year-old guys who move out and learn how to use a washing machine, and spend more time rewarding the guys who, at the end of their 4-year degree, manage to work out consent.
Yeah, university is a chance to explore new identities. So why can't that identity include drastically lowered tolerance for sexual assault? That's a much better personality change than becoming the smelly white guy with dreads who makes potato bongs.
Potato bongs thing was a phase. Well, if you're worried about the smelly white guy or anything in this segment, support is available by calling 1-800-RESPECT. And that is the end of our show. Please thank our correspondents Matt Harvey and Susanna Christensen. And of course, our lovely hosts Pam Rana and Pat McCaffrey. Stay tuned now on Facebook for our weekly live post show. Until next week, I'm Anthony McCormick. Good night. I'll go from the start. That was a warm-up. That was a warm-up. Let me do this. Okay. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.